Hey, I'm Kathleen Jasper, and today we're talking about ChatGPT and how to use it in your classroom effectively to save you time and to make your life easier. Let's get started. So today I have two ChatGPT prompts that I think every teacher should try, and this is going to make your life easier. Now, some people think ChatGPT is cheating, but it is not. In fact, a lot of people thought the calculator was cheating when the calculator came out, and a lot of people thought others shouldn't be using Google, and now it's something we use every day in our lives. AI is here, it's here to stay, and it's important that teachers and students use it effectively. And today I'm going to talk about how you can use it effectively in your classroom. Let's hop over to ChatGPT so I can show you exactly what I'm talking about. All right, the first prompt that I love that every teacher should use is for lesson planning. So here it is up here. I wrote in ChatGPT, please write me a lesson plan and 3 objectives for the following standard. So my principal used to have us write our objectives on the board. You may have a similar principle, but objectives are important regardless because you should be communicating those objectives to your students so they know what they're responsible for. So I make sure to put that in there. And then I put the standard in there. And this is a middle school physical science standard. You may have a different standard. You probably teach something different. And here it is, construct and interpret graphical displays of data, kinetic energy, yada, yada. This right here is the actual standard. And I wrote, please include accommodations for students with IEPs and those who struggle. In my school where I taught, I had to have accommodations in every lesson plan. They didn't change, but I like to include them. Then, of course, we always want to put something in there for students who struggle. So then I hit enter, and there it goes. This is a 7th grade lesson plan. Here's the standard. And it even says that this is going to last for 2 class periods. So that's 2 days of the week done right here. Now, these lesson objectives are awesome. I love the objectives ChatGPT came up with. These objectives, had I written them myself, would have taken me about a half an hour. This took about 10 seconds. You can see we have the student will be able to construct a line graph. Students will analyze patterns in the data, and students will draw evidence based on these conclusions. These are fantastic objectives. So we definitely want to make sure we're meeting those. And you can see that the standard here, construct and interpret graphical displays of data to describe the relationship of kinetic energy to the mass of an object and the speed of an object. These objectives directly align with that standard. So that is amazing. Materials needed. I don't really need this in my lesson plan, so whatever. And then we have the procedures. So we have the introduction. These guiding questions are really cool. There's a formula for kinetic energy, guided practice that goes through the whole thing, okay? Now, the accommodations are there, also for struggling learners. And then there's a little bit on assessment that I didn't even ask it to do, but it included a formative assessment and summative assessment. I love this, but there are a few changes I want to make. Now, a lot of people would just copy this lesson plan, put it in a Word document, and make the changes yourself. But you want to make sure that you are training your chatbot so that the chatbot knows what you want for future chats. And so you can see here, I wrote this. These objectives are amazing. You want to tell the chatbot what it did well. And I say they align with the standard and the level of rigor I want. So that's awesome. For the next one, you can leave off the materials needed. We don't need that. I love the guided questions. And then I put here, next time for the intro, please include a bell ringer. You could also say, please revise this to include a bell ringer while I'm taking attendance. And then I wrote, can you generate a formative observation sheet I can fill out while observing? Because notice it gave me this formative assessment, which is an observation assessment while they're doing their lab. And it said, sure, here's a formative assessment. And it put it in this table for me here. Now, I could even give ChatGPT all the names of my students. You can just list them. You can copy them from a Word document or an Excel spreadsheet and put it in here, and ChatGPT will input it in this column here nicely, alpha order, the whole thing. And then it gave me, so you've got this little checklist here. And then it says, would you like me to put this in a printable PDF or editable Excel sheet for easier use? And you might say, yes, please. An Excel sheet would be great. Okay. Yes, please. Okay. I also use AI to check for my spelling here. So then I click this here. All right, you can see here it is, the formative observation sheet for kinetic energy, downloadable formative observation sheet. And then I'm going to give this a thumbs up. When you give it a thumbs up, you are telling it, hey, I like this. And then I can just click this file, it downloads. All right, you can see that it downloads here into an Excel spreadsheet. It's pretty basic, but you could ask it to make it more complex. Don't add anything here. Tell ChatGPT to do it so that next time it knows what to do. Then you could just put your kids' names in here, or you could give it to ChatGPT and have ChatGPT do it. But this is just a great way to have ChatGPT make all these things that would have taken you many, many, many minutes and hours to do on your own. All right, so that's a lesson planning ChatGPT prompt and sort of a thing that you can do with that. Now let's use ChatGPT for classroom management. This is going to be a game changer, especially for my new teachers. All right, so here's my prompt. And I often talk to ChatGPT like I'm just talking to somebody that I'm trying to get to do something I need done, right? So I have here, please generate a classroom management plan for the following routines and procedures for my classroom. I was specific. I teach fourth grade. You got to tell him or tell ChatGPT what grade you teach. And then I just listed all these different routines here that I need. And if you're a fourth grade teacher, you have a million routines: entering the classroom, leaving the classroom, lining up at the door, changing from one subject to another. You got all kinds of stuff. So I just put in everything I could think of that an elementary teacher might need. Obviously, if you're in an elementary classroom right this second, you're going to know exactly what you need. I even put, how to stop an activity when I stand in the front of the room with my hand up to get your attention. So I want ChatGPT to give me like procedures for this and include a checklist for my students. Because here's what I need to do for classroom management. I need to have the routines mapped out, obviously. But for my kids, they need a checklist, especially if they're just learning these routines. So I can say, okay, we are transitioning from English block to science block. What do we do? And they maybe take out their little sheet of paper that has all the routines and they go, check, 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 check. Or maybe I have it projected on the board so everyone can see the checklist, however you want to do it. But a checklist is going to help my students check off the tasks they did, which is going to keep them on that classroom management plan. So ChatGPT did it all: entering the classroom and then student checklist, retrieving the folder, starting the bell ringer, sitting quietly during attendance, bell ringer completion, transitioning between English, math, science, social science, lining up at the door. And of course, we have the checklist: walking the hall, walking to lunch, walking to the playground. Okay. And the last one was gaining student attention, which is when I get like, they might be all working on something and I go on the front of the room and I do this: I will raise my hand, eyes on me. Now, this is for me to know, right? But it's also for the kids. Like, it's important for me to have a set of routines and procedures so the students know exactly what's expected of them. And then it's got all these different stuff for their folders. Here's the checklist. It did it here, but then you might print this out for their folders: entering the classroom, checklist; during attendance, checklist. Now you might say, you know what? We need something added in here. So let me show you what that is. First of all, I'm going to give it a thumbs up because I love that chat. Okay. And then I say, hey, can you add a line leader to the lining up procedure? Because you don't want to rewrite the whole thing, right? But maybe I forgot about the line leader. Okay, so put that in. And then they update it here and they put it on the student checklist. And then I'm going to give it a thumbs up. So notice that like this just took care of my classroom management for me. Now I can focus on the actual classroom management rather than the documents I need for my students' checklist. This took 10 seconds for ChatGPT to generate. And the one thing I love the most is this checklist for the kids. Right here. You could also project this. Every time there's a procedure, you could just turn on your laptop or whatever you're doing and make sure you zoom in on whichever one is going on. And they go, oh, yep, there it is. Check, check, check. You could say, students, make sure you're following the checklist at the front of the room. A checklist. Everybody loves a checklist. Now, one last thing I want to show you. Let's say you're in the middle of the year and you've already been doing your classroom management, but you now have a new thing you're doing. Maybe it's science labs or cooperative learning or something else, fire drills. There's something at the middle of the year where you believe that you need a routine for it. You don't have to rewrite this whole thing. Just go into your saved chats, which are all here. It's just in this little menu here. And you can grab, let's say I want to go back to the lesson plan. You can add to this lesson plan here. You can also name your projects like lesson plans and have it be all organized. I need to do better with the organization. I just have my chats just listed everywhere by date, which is helpful, but you could have all your lesson plans on ChatGPT in the lesson plan folder. You could have all of your classroom management in the classroom management folder. I pay for the ChatGPT that's like more powerful or whatever, but the free version does the same thing. So you can just add projects, store them, and add files. You can even add, like, let's say you had for lesson plans, let's say there was some sort of a protocol from the district, right? Let's say there's a PDF or something or an email or whatever it is, and your lesson plans have to go by that template. Upload the template. Add the template to your lesson plan. Say, can you write me a lesson plan using this template? Boom, done. So I highly recommend using ChatGPT for these purposes. Every teacher, every student should be using ChatGPT and getting an idea of how AI can help them be more efficient. I like to think about AI as a thought partner, where I have an idea of what I want to do, and then I communicate that to ChatGPT. And what ChatGPT helps me do is narrow it down into all the important pieces, and also helps me see the whole thing through. Like if I were to design that whole classroom management plan, I might get derailed. I might not be able to generate the things that it generated for me. This just makes my ideas even better. Obviously, an AI bot cannot manage my classroom for me. I am the teacher and have to stand in the front of the room and command the room and teach my students. But ChatGPT can help me organize my approach and also help me communicate my approach in a succinct, organized manner to my students. And so I just recommend trying it out for different things. This tool is limitless, and you can ask it to do all kinds of things. And remember, very important, I learned this early on, don't just fix it yourself after you get sort of a generic response. Tell ChatGPT what you liked, and then tell ChatGPT what you would like improved. Switch this to that. Please add this. Please take out that. And then you will train your bot so the next time it writes you a lesson plan or a writing prompt or a practice test or whatever you're trying to make it do, it's going to get better and better. All right, so I hope that makes your life a little bit easier today. Please let me know if you have any questions in the comments below, and I hope you have an awesome day. Bye.